Good evening and welcome to the channel's studios here in London with your international news around the world in 5. The Prime Minister of Syria's new transitional government has said it is time for people to enjoy stability and calm after the overthrow of President Bashar al-Assad.
اليوم تم عقد جلسة مجلس الوزراء.
Mohammed Al-Bashir, the former head of the rebel administration in the northwest, was speaking after being tasked with governing until March 2025 by the Islamist militant group Hayat Tahrir al-Sham. It came as the UN envoy for Syria said the rebels must transform their good messages into practice on the ground. The US Secretary of State said Washington would recognize and fully support a future Syrian government so long as it emerged from a credible, inclusive process that respected minorities.
Hayat Tahrir al-Sham is using the right words, but we will of course judge them not by those words, but by their actions over the coming days, the coming weeks, the coming months. We recognize Syria as a state. We have not recognized the HTS as the governing authority in Syria. We have not recognized them as the government of Syria.
Israel has confirmed it carried out attacks on Syria's naval fleet as part of its efforts to neutralize military assets in the country after the fall of the Assad regime. The IDF said its ships struck the ports of Al-Bashir and Latakia, where 15 vessels were docked. Here, videos showing blasts at the port of Latakia, with footage appearing to show extensive damage to ships and parts of the port. The IDF said its warplanes had conducted more than 350 airstrikes on targets across Syria. Meanwhile, the country's leader and the first serving president to take the witness stand as a defendant in a criminal case has described corruption charges against him as absurd. Netanyahu's lawyer portrayed the corruption trial as biased and said his client was the victim of a political witch hunt. In the trial that is taking place in Tel Aviv, Netanyahu said he had been waiting 8 years for this moment to tell the truth. The man accused of shooting dead healthcare insurance CEO Brian Thompson in New York has jostled with police and shouted at reporters as he was led into court.
Oh my God! That's completely out of touch, and an insult to the intelligence of the American people and lived experience.
As more details emerged about a potential motive in the killing, Luigi Mangione appeared at an extradition hearing in Pennsylvania. Wearing an orange jumpsuit, he was heard shouting at journalists before being bundled into court by officers. He was arrested on Monday after he was spotted at a McDonald's following a days-long manhunt that spanned several states. Police have raided the office of the South Korean president, Yoon Suk-yeol. It marks a dramatic escalation of the probe against Yoon and top police and military officers over the surprise December 3rd martial law declaration that plunged Asia's fourth largest economy into a constitutional crisis. Dozens of flower garlands carrying messages of support for the embattled president could be seen arranged along the outer walls of the presidential office compound. Police in Ghana have arrested more than 100 people, mostly opposition supporters of the president-elect John Mahama, over acts of lawlessness. Supporters of the newly elected president who wants jobs have allegedly attacked some state institutions, looted properties and engaged in disturbances that have left some police and military personnel injured. The irate supporters also torched 2 electoral commission officers due to a delay in announcing the outcome of Saturday's elections and disagreements over some parliamentary results. And the roar of Formula One engines may soon return to South Africa's Kyalami Grand Prix circuit north of Johannesburg as the country pursues hosting an F1 race for the first time since 1993. Africa's biggest racing circuit is making strategic moves to meet the rigorous standards required to host the prestigious motorsport event after a 3-decade hiatus. South Africa's Sports, Arts and Culture Minister said the circuit is 90% ready to host. 7-time world champion Lewis Hamilton has also called for Africa to claim its place in the sport. And that's your international news around the world in 5. Now back to the channel's studios in Lagos.